So, welcome to the second episode of a two-part series with Dom. And who might have missed the first episode, the link to that would be in the description of this video. So you can go back and listen to it. And that's where we had talked about a lot of great things. But let me first introduce Dom. He has spent majority of his career at AT&T. He has held multiple systems engineering, sales, and business development roles. He has spent a decade with the IoT space, helping customers launch their IoT solutions, and he holds an MS degree in computer engineering from Florida Atlantic University. So, welcome, Dom, to the second episode. And just to very quickly, 30-second recap of the first episode, we talked about the what is IoT, how we what was the history of how we got where we are today. We talked about the devices, the various types of devices. We talked about the fabric that puts it all together. Then we touched, upon the data analytics and machine learning and AI that go into the data to extract actionable information and insights from the data, and how are some of these devices powered up, and anything else, Dom, that you might want to add?
Yeah, I think that's a good summary, Shankar. Appreciate for having me on here for your second session. Thank you.
Oh, excellent, Dom. So let's jump into more of the business side of things. And maybe, Dom, if you can take a minute and talk to the listeners about the various use cases in some of the verticals that you had mentioned in the first session.
Sure. Yeah, I can go over a few verticals, examples of use cases in different verticals. I'll start out with the retail vertical. So I had an opportunity to work with a trail camera manufacturer. So these are essentially cameras used by folks who are into hunting. So they can collect images and videos of wildlife that they see while they're in the woods. So this customer essentially was looking for embedding cellular connectivity into the trail camera. So when you look at the trail camera, if it's not a connected trail camera with no connectivity, it's a one-time sale, right, for a camera manufacturer, right, for that particular manufacturer. So it's a one-time sale. So this client was looking for embedding cellular connectivity into the trail camera. So by providing the cellular connectivity, making it a connected camera or a smart camera, essentially now this trail camera manufacturer was able to monetize by having a monthly subscription. And it also improved the customer satisfaction for the end users of that trail camera. Now they can look at their trail cameras in real time using the app on the cell phone versus removing the SD card in the trail camera and then putting it in your laptop and trying to look up the images that were collected. So it not only created that stickiness, but it also generated new revenue for this trail camera, right, manufacturer. So they have a monthly subscription model. So they're able to monetize that. And they ended up, deploying several 100,000 customers using this connected trail cameras. So that's where that's where the ROI was, for this trail camera company, where it enabled them to generate new revenue by selling a connected trail camera.
I actually had no idea, because I've seen videos of people catching some, a wolf or this or that. And I always used to wonder, how do they know that this is happening? I mean, do they sit and look at endless footage from week 1 to month 2 to month 3, and then they find little 5-10 second snippet of some deer or something. Now I know how that's how it's done. I mean, so that's fascinating to know. Um, So, Dom, the other, in terms of use case, I also hear a lot about patient monitoring and how
Mhm.
this devices became, what should I say, almost a lifesaver during the pandemic. So maybe if you can kind of like, educate us on how does IoT help during the pandemic?
Yeah, sure, Shankar. Good question. That's a very important use case, right? To your point, during pandemic, things were locked down and folks were not able to go visit the doctors. So remote patient monitoring solution really took off during pandemic. So a lot of hospital systems were deploying it for their patients. A lot of clinics were deploying it. Essentially, when you look at remote patient monitoring, it allows the doctors to collect the vital signs of the patients remotely, right? Whether it is whether it's their weighing scale, which is Bluetooth enabled, whether it's oximeter monitoring the oxygen level, or a blood pressure cuff, which is Bluetooth enabled, weighing scale, which is Bluetooth enabled. So all of these pieces would then connect via Bluetooth to a tablet, and that tablet has an embedded cellular connectivity in it. So it would collect all the data from the patient, whether it's their weight, the blood pressure, the oxygen level, and send that information onto the hospital system back office, where the nurse and the doctors can take look at that information that's been collected from the patient and make decisions in real time, versus having that patient come to the office to see them, right? And during COVID, because of lockdown, most of the clinics were closed, and it was only via a virtual session. You would visit a doctor virtually versus going into the clinic. So that's where the significant value or the ROI was seen, where the patients were able to obtain the care that they needed without leaving their home.
Interesting. Okay. So is that considered part of telehealth? Because that's a term that's used quite a bit. Is that supposed to be a part of the telehealth systems?
Yeah, you can. I mean, you can. There, for example, there's a company you might have heard of, Livongo, right? So they shipped a Bluetooth-enabled, devices that talk. That also have, some of these devices can also have cellular connectivity built into it, whether it's a blood pressure cuff or a weighing scale. They can have a built-in Bluetooth as well, the standalone devices, and it can transmit that data that's been collected in real time to the doctor's office. So the doctors can then make that evaluation and provide the necessary treatment for those patients.
Okay, interesting. So we talked, last time, Dom, we had talked about manufacturing as being
Mhm.
one of the, major deployment areas for
Yes.
IoT. Maybe if you have a use case for the listeners in the manufacturing vertical.
Yeah, sure, Shankar. I can definitely talk about one use case in manufacturing, where there was a manufacturer of industrial fasteners. So their primary end customers were automotive manufacturers. So they were providing them vending machines. These vending machines would go on the manufacturing plant floor, and these vending machines would dispense, safety goggles, hard hats, gloves for the workers. So they would just walk up to the vending machine, swipe their P card, and obtain whatever item that they need from the vending machine without having to go to a store to pick it up. So these vending machines were which were on the manufacturing plant floors, did not have Wi-Fi or hardwired connectivity. So we worked with this manufacturer of industrial fasteners to incorporate cellular connectivity into their vending machines. So these vending machines, by having these cellular-enabled vending machines, now these vending machines can be placed at any area within the manufacturing plant, which is convenient for the workers to walk up and get that item from the vending machine. So the real ROI there, Shankar, is it improved worker safety, worker productivity. So those were the, essentially the real benefits of utilizing the solution of a connected vending machine.
So the other vending machines, like, Coke, Pepsi, what have you, do those also have some kind of
Yes.
IoT in them?
Yes, correct. They do. If you look at those vending machines that are dispensing, pop, they do have. They are also cellular enabled, and you can typically see a small antenna sitting on top of these vending machines, and they usually have a modem that has, which is cellular enabled, and utilizes two cell service providers. So there's a fallback. If the one provider's signal is not reaching that particular location of that vending machine, they can utilize the other provider. So it's a dual provider device that's embedded into the vending machine. Again, it also allows them to do the transaction, right? Accept that credit card payment as well, right? So that credit card can be validated using that real-time connectivity via the cellular-enabled vending machine.
Excellent. Okay, so so you have three interesting use cases, three different profiles or personas of customers, from an avid hunter to healthcare professionals and nursing staff and doctors, to manufacturing floor managers, to vending machine operators. So you have all these different types of customers. So how is it that, what is it to, work with these different types of personas of customers, post deployment, during deployment, and what are some of the things that, people have to focus on?
Yeah, as we had talked in our previous session, IoT is highly fragmented, and there's an ecosystem. The ecosystem of hardware providers, network providers, as well as the cloud and application providers. And then to put all the pieces together, you have system integrators and consulting firms such as KPMG, McKinsey, Deloitte, and others, right? So it's a whole ecosystem that's required in order to deliver a complete end-to-end solution.
Okay, excellent. So, so IoT, is as we talked about last time, is something new, and there are a lot of fresh graduates who probably just got their degrees, diplomas, last month or a couple of months ago, and they're looking at employment opportunities. So what would be some of the things that that you would like to recommend to people who are looking at IoT?
Yeah, so as I had mentioned in my previous session, the IoT is growing at a 30% CAGR, right? So it's a really a growing field. It's a good opportunity for new graduates to get into this field. And it touches various adjacent technologies as well, whether it's AI, machine learning, and others, right? As you are collecting this data from these remote devices, you are collecting the data, doing the analytics, doing the predictive maintenance, doing the dashboard. So that, if a new graduate is looking to get into this field, I would say I would encourage them to look at job opportunities with device manufacturers, with network providers. Then there's also the system integrators. And then you have your large consulting firms, such as McKinsey, KPMG, and others that have all of these companies have college recruiting programs as well. So I've known quite a few of folks who have gotten their first break in the IoT space through the college hire programs. So I would say that these are the companies you look for IoT opportunities.
So, so Dom, in terms of someone who wants to work, in a customer-facing role, people like who could be in support or customer success, can they do that in the IoT world landscape, or is that a no, don't waste your time over there? How does that work?
Yeah, good question, Shankar. When you look at when I look at from the lens of a telecom provider, telecom providers usually have a title called business care managers. These are essentially folks who work with the customer, enterprise customers, post-sale, right? Their primary role is ensuring the monthly billing is optimized for the customer, answering any questions, and providing that quarterly QBR reports to the clients. But that role, I can see that role pivot to what's the new role, that's the customer success role, right? Customer success role essentially would help the providers reduce the churn, improve the stickiness of their end clients. And also with the IoT solutions, typically the wireless providers have a SIM management platform that they're utilizing to basically deploy SIMs. And this is a web-based platform application that's used by the end customers. But then the carriers and system integrators can provide a value-add service of customer success, ensuring all the devices in the field are functioning optimally, looking at the dashboards and optimizing the usage of these devices, the billing information. So thereby, they are increasing the stickiness of the solution, improving the customer satisfaction. And then the customer success person can look at adjacencies within that customer to see what other value add services can the SI or the service provider can provide to that end client.
So it's not because this is one of the concerns that many people have, which is do I need to be very technical to get into IoT, whether I'm doing customer-facing role or not, or implementation or not? And would it be correct to say that you don't need to be, an engineer or a technical person, as long as you can look at dashboards, you can see red flags and know what to do and things of that nature? Your kind of good, excellent communication skills, or is there more to it that I'm oversimplifying?
Yeah, again, it depends on the role, right? If you are developing a new hardware, it's very, very engineering focused. You have in order to develop that custom hardware, right? It has to be FCC, PTCRB certified. It has to be carrier certified, and and carriers can provide those services. So those type of roles are very technical. Then moving on to if it's a customer success role or a business development role or a sales role, again, the key there is you have to be a good listener, right? You have to understand the customer's pain point, and then pull in the resources, be a quarterback, pull in the appropriate resources to put together the right solution for the customer, right? So those are the, those are the essential skills, I would say. Be a good listener and be able to work with, various groups and pulling that solution together, whether it's working with a system integrator or the carrier or the hardware manufacturer or the application provider or a hyperscaler or a cloud provider like Microsoft, Google, and others.
Okay. No, so I think some of this highly technical roles and some of these kinds of technologies that come into play, I'm feeling that people who have been working in the industry for a few years, they probably are more, what should I say, have the skills to do some of those technical roles. And for people who are in doing CSM roles, customer success management roles, or account management roles, they can slot themselves into more of non-technical career paths in the IoT space, whether it's system vendors or integrators or consulting shops or actual manufacturing industries and all of that. And I think as long as someone is aware of that, like for customer facing roles, that the same skills you need to do CSM role in a SaaS B2B business are pretty much, as what I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, it's kind of the same types of skills you would still need, and you don't have to know everything about IoT, no more than you need to know how modular computing works in the SaaS space, or some of these hypervisors and a lot of these types of very technical things. You just need to be good with customers. You need to be, a good listener, as you pointed out, Dom. And as long as you have those skills, you can definitely look at IoT as a area of employment, as more and more CSMs are looking for new opportunities, especially over the last few months or years. There has been a little bit of readjustments in staffing levels and such. So I think IoT is a good place. Dom, would you agree? And on to that?
Yeah, Shankar, exactly. Based on the data that's been collected from the industry analysts, this field is growing at a rate of 30% for the next 7 years, right?
Wow.
So there's a significant amount of opportunities, and the IoT space is highly fragmented. The ecosystem is highly fragmented. There are a lot of players, so that creates a lot of opportunities.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, so I think on that note, on the number, on that note, and 30% for next 7 years. So keep that in mind. And thank you, Dom. And for the listeners, if you like what you heard today, please like, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment, because that is what we like to do, is to hear from people listening, and words of encouragement. That's what keeps us going. Thank you.
Thank you, Shankar.